When they meet the person, they're so excited to be able to offer that support. And when they meet them and see the barriers, language, just how things work, how hard it is for adjustment, for people to adjust sometimes when they come into the United States. When they see those barriers and they see for them to not be discouraged, but instead to just double down, and to just keep working, it's that committed, courageous heart that says, I'm here for you, regardless. It's a partnership. The resettlement effort is complicated and difficult and big, and our role, is as we greet people and as we find them a place to live and help to find employment, and then work with them about the cultural orientation. We do not have the ability to be with that family for the amount of time to be able to really meet their needs. The case manager has the next family that's coming in. They have all the families that already came in. They are really stretched. And so the co-sponsorship is an incredible partnership because it extends that support and the opportunity to learn, to understand the culture, to have someone walk alongside. That is an incredible part of the program. So we are very committed to supporting the co-sponsors and to be able to make them a part of the program, because it truly is a partnership.
Since 1982, those community groups and faith-based groups became part of our day-to-day working with refugees. So for all these 35 years, we had almost 25 to 30 formal churches and other community groups engaged in refugee resettlement. So thinking about those 25,000 of refugees, more than half of them, they had some type of formal co-sponsorship relationship.
When we onboard co-sponsors, the first step is to train. We go out into their community, we go into their church or their organization, and we train. We train them on the Refugee 101, cultural sensitivity, the role of the resettlement agency, and the role of co-sponsorship. And that training is about an hour and a half to 2 hours with questions.
So we added a cultural sensitivity portion to our co-sponsorship orientation, and we find that is very important. And you can spend hours and hours and hours talking about cultural sensitivity and cultural training.
In Refugee 101 training, we talk about what it is to be a refugee. We talk about how many refugees there are in the world. We talk about trying to help the co-sponsor groups empathize with the life of a refugee, the decision-making, the abruptness of their journey. They move quickly and under great duress. We talk about refugee camps. We talk about what kind of challenge it is to actually come to a third country, the amount of vetting that they go through.
Just making people aware that they will experience cultural differences, and being aware that we live in our own culture as well. There is an American culture, and cultural differences aren't right and wrong.
Throughout the co-sponsorship relationship, we're continually helping the co-sponsor team to understand the differences in culture. There are superficial differences like religion and food and music, but then there are much more inherent, deeply held belief systems that are different. We call culture the software of the mind. You think about it like that. It's an operating system, and it has tremendous complexity, and we try to just make co-sponsors aware of that. One of the most important aspects of managing the co-sponsor relationship is the communication between the team, the co-sponsorship team, and the resettlement agency. We want one person on that team identified as the person who will get information from the case manager.
What we have found to work well is for the co-sponsor team to have their designated leader. It doesn't necessarily have to be, the faith group leader, like the pastor or the imam, but a designated leader in the group that will communicate with the resettlement agency. What has been really complicated is when we have a group with 10 members and one person's contacting the employment specialist and one the case manager and one the resettlement coordinator, then nobody really knows what anyone else has talked about.
Having that clear communication and those lines of communication make sure that things are communicated clearly and accurately. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to communicate with the rest of the team. It just means that we want there to be a process.
Dependency and the counterpart, really, empowerment is a very important part of the co-sponsorship process. And we have seen cases where a very close relationship develops between the co-sponsor team and their refugee family. And in cases where the family becomes really dependent on the co-sponsor, it's not really setting up that family to be self-sufficient and to be really successful on their own in the U.S.
When we are over-involved, we're taking power away from refugees to seize the reins of control of their life and to have direction in their life and agency in their life. And that's the power that they need to regain. That it heals the crisis of being a refugee.
What we always encourage our co-sponsor teams to do is to be teaching throughout every process, everything that they do. Make it so that the family that you're working with is learning what you're doing and learning how to apply it, because ultimately they will be living their own lives, and the co-sponsor team won't be with them forever, even if they do have a very strong bond of friendship. So it is very important to be able to empower that family to do those things on their own. When we have an arrival that can benefit from co-sponsorship, we would contact the group and see if that's a family that they can work with, give them some basic information about where they're from, how many people are in the family, if they have children, what are their ages. And when the group says yes, that really sets the ball rolling.
The commitment form identifies key activities and also a timeline for co-sponsorship. And it is one of the tools that we use to establish the boundaries of the relationship. It helps co-sponsors to really identify what they're going to do in the co-sponsorship relationship. So for example, maybe they simply want to set up an apartment and provide a meal. And maybe they don't want to do any more than that. Or maybe they're not really capable of setting up an apartment, but they'd like to have a weekly visit to just have family time and not really be involved in training aspects of adjusting to being here. There are some co-sponsors that really thrive on helping clients get to appointments or learning the bus system or navigating through a parent-teacher conference, for example, and they enjoy that. But those are all different kinds of activities, and we let co-sponsors drive that part of the relationship to say what they're willing to do, what they're comfortable doing. Then there's the time commitment. We ask for at least a 90-day commitment, but it can be as long as 180 days. So that's another part of the relationship that we let the co-sponsor tell us what they're capable of committing.
We arrived to Phoenix Airport. When we arrived near these families, he says, "You are Shaheen family?" He says, I says, yes, we are Shaheen family. I was so scary, so I need somebody, just somebody to speak with him. He give us the flower and he says, we are from church and we are here to say welcome to America and to take you to your new home. So, and they hung us and says, welcome to America.
We pull together a team that is going to be at the airport and be there welcoming the family, knowing that they're coming probably exhausted and with some fear and anxiety. So we try to meet them, with open arms and let them know that we care about them, whether that's with a poster or with flowers. We just want to be very welcoming and approachable to them.
I will be on side, watching how these other people will meet them. They have balloons, they have flowers, they have toys for the children. Oh my God, it makes me feel so happy, very happy. It's a very positive image of America.
One of the first things we do is we really take time to set up a nice home for them and not just throw in a bunch of furniture and household goods, but really make it be a welcoming and beautiful space. And it's always amazing how that comes together with a lot of hodgepodge things that are donated, but we're able to pull it together.
When we arrived to our apartments, we're beginning to take the bags and go to our home. When we open the home and we go inside, we see everything, everything, all furniture in the home, in the bedrooms, in the everything. They didn't forget anything in the home. They didn't forget anything. They put pencils, toys for children. They put everything in the home. I was so happy because when we go from from Syria to Turkey, we slept on the cold floor first day. We put the kids between me and my wife and we hung him to give him some warm. So when we come to here, we say beds, we say everything, we say blankets, we say it's warm, we say sitting room is ready, we have a table for lunch, and we have kitchen, and inside the fridge there is a food. That was amazing, and we was so hungry. Yeah, we was so hungry. And he says, take care, it's halal. They taking care of our feelings. They bring the food from Arabic stores to let us comfortable for eating. That was amazing. Really, that was amazing. It's what beautiful feelings. And we sit as like half hour after that. He says, we will visit you tomorrow. And they let us there, and second day we see him, and we are now one family, really one family.
We like to spend time with them, just doing things that anybody else would do here in the city, helping them, get to know their community, taking them to events, spending time with the children, helping them just navigate life.
Miss Tina, it's wonderful woman, really wonderful woman. It's as like our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, all our family here is Miss Tina.
There's a lot of really awful things in the world, and for a co-sponsor to say, I can do something about that, I think that takes a heart that is courageous, to believe that they could impact someone who's living in another country, someone who's experienced a traumatic event, someone who's spent years in a refugee camp.
I've always had a love and a curiosity about people that are different from myself. And so I enjoy spending time with them and finding out about them and finding ways to care for them.
We see each other every celebration, every in Ramadan last year they invite us first day for her home. We eat iftar in her home. That's amazing. In Halloween too, in Thanksgiving we eat together. It's not about the food, it's about the tradition. We are new here. That's a tradition, American culture. We need to learn him. So we go and together, many families. That's Thanksgiving is just for your family. So when he invite me with my family to her home, that's very big for me. That's let me understand I'm one of her family. So it's amazing feeling.
The reason why I volunteer so much time to care and love refugees is because I view all people as created in the image of God.
I lose my family in Syria, but the God sent me a family here. That was amazing. God sent me a family here. That was amazing.